One of the things I tried to do, and this was suggested by my friend's dad, he suggested church. Communicate with God and tell him what's going on. Okay, I'm desperate. So I got baptized, and I was so happy. I felt like this was a real turning point. I continued to pray. I continued to go to Bible study, and every fucking night, the woman in white would appear. And eventually I reached a point that I stopped praying and started cursing God. Because how could this happen? How could a God continue to allow this to happen? Every single night for 6 years. And I couldn't get anybody to believe me. As this went on, I began to get desperate. I wasn't sleeping. I just couldn't sleep in that room. You know, and you hear people say, hey, I live in a haunted house, it's cool. Yeah, fuck you. You live in a haunted house, it's not cool. It's not fun. It's not amusing. It's not a cute story to tell your friends. I began to get desperate for something, anything. And we were at a garage sale, and they had a Ouija board. So we put our fingers on it, the way you're supposed to do. And all it spelled out was hurt you. Over and over and over. Hurt you, hurt you. I felt like something was happening. I felt very, very much in danger. My mom comes in and rinses the tub and doesn't say anything to me. And I'm like, Mom, something is happening. But there's a moment where she looks at me and I can see in her eyes that she's aware.
Why would your mom do that?
I think she was in denial. I knew that we struggled to pay the bills. I knew that we were often behind on rent. I think my parents were terrified that if I caused problems, that I was saying negative things about the complex, that they would get kicked out. And then a couple of years passed and our home was falling apart. My dad's drinking was getting worse, and my mom got pregnant with my little brother. To try to make a better situation, my mom really pushed for us to move back to Bakersfield, where the rent's a little cheaper, a little easier to get by, where we had family. And I was so excited. We were moving out of the haunted house. And the maintenance man says real offhand, I'm surprised you guys lasted that long. And I remember going, what? Yeah, lady who lived there murdered her 2 kids in the bathtub and hung herself in your closet. We moved in within a week of that happening. The maintenance man was literally replacing the linoleum because of the blood and placing the carpets from where she hung herself because she hadn't been found for days. I realized in that moment, everybody knew. The neighbors knew. My parents knew. The landlord knew. My friends' parents. Everybody knew what had happened in that apartment, and they let us move in anyway. For 6 years, I was tormented, tortured, and abused by an entity in that house. So we moved to Bakersfield. We moved into a house that had a real backyard. It was very much how I felt going from a motel room to an apartment. And I just remember, like, this is okay. It's over. I'm done. It stops. We started school. I met neighborhood kids. It felt really, really good. So a little time went by, and I think I was just starting to let my guard down. And then one night, me and my best friend were out riding our bicycles in the fog. When I saw her again, after thinking we got away, I thought, how is that possible? Houses are haunted, not people. But that's not entirely true. She came with me. We get back to my friend's place, and we come in, and he's like, Mom, we gotta call an ambulance. We gotta get Jason to a doctor. Like now, this woman is sitting on the couch, just blank, staring into the distance. There's a cigarette burned down to ash beside her, and she's just checked out. And she turns her head, and she looks right at me, and she's getting angry. And she stands up, and she's looking at me, but she's not seeing me, and says, "You're supposed to be dead. You're supposed to be dead. You're supposed to be dead."
Jason, do you think your friend's mom was being like a conduit?
Yeah, I really do believe that the woman in white was speaking through her. And I really do believe "you're supposed to be dead" was directed at me. I had just missed death by an inch. That was the realization that this was continuing. I started to feel like nothing was going to make it stop. I started to feel like it was closing in and it was getting worse. And I was worried that somebody I loved was going to get hurt. So I did the only thing that made sense. I ran away. I gave up everything. I rarely stayed more than one night in one location. I tried to stay one step ahead. And I thought, if I keep moving, if I just don't hold still.
She can't find you then.
She can't find me.
Is it working?
Seemed to. And then a girl came along, your mom. We decided to try and make a go of it. And you were born. I'm with someone I love. I'm in a good place. Life is good. And a couple of years had passed, and I thought, okay, I outran it. I got away. And I had this job at the bowling alley working in the fry cook area. I got off work and go out towards the parking lot. I began to feel her presence again.
Welcome back. I lost you for a moment there.
I was dead.
They got me in the car and got me to a hospital, and the doctor told me dehydration and heat stroke. You died in the parking lot. When I came to in the hospital, I felt this huge, huge sense of relief. I didn't feel connected to her for the first time since I'd been in first grade. I didn't feel her presence creeping on me 24/7. She got what she wanted. I died, she got what she wanted. Now it'll stop. Now it's over. I have spent a lot of years trying to figure this out. And I think she thought I was her child who was supposed to be dead, that she murdered, and she needed to finish what she started.
So was that in fact the last time you saw her? No.
No. I thought it was. I thought that was it. After all this time of thinking that it was over, the woman in white has returned. A few days ago, I woke up and she was there, standing beside the bed. I felt the hatred while the woman in white was there looking at me. I'm not going to get away with cheating death much longer. And I'm scared. I just felt like it was time for you guys to know. Sooner or later, your number comes up. You don't get to know why. You don't get to know when. You don't get to know where. It says in the Bible, no man will know the hour or day. And that's what it is. You don't get to know.
My name is Terralyn. I spent many years avoiding, trying to forget what happened to me in the house that I grew up in. I grew up in upstate New York. Our house was built on Native American burial grounds. The land that we lived in, or lived on, I should say, was about 2 acres out in the country. The neighbors were far and few between. And so we were pretty secluded. We didn't involve ourselves with anyone. We had a lot of secrets. Dad would make my sisters and I roll oranges in the living room. Mom always had her favorite spot. She would watch from, I called it her perch. We had to play the game for hours on end. The orange had to stay in the playing field. And if you didn't play correctly, that's when we got the backhander.
Keep it rolling.
That is one less war party for us to contend with. Excellent work.
We'd roll, and our mom would sing. I remember the Like a Bird song over and over.
Like a bird that's lost its wing in flight, I'm alone and also blue tonight.